Hello friends, I am Shushant Raghavan. Welcome to Technical and Quality Session. For understanding the technical requirements and quality standards in clothing industry, making a sustainable garment, I have good practical experience in the apparel manufacturing sector. My skills are CAD pattern making, sample development, technical requirements, and measuring quality performance. Today's session is about textile product labeling in the apparel industry. For more sessions like this, do like and subscribe to my channel. Now let's begin the presentation. Textile product labeling. Labeling regulations and requirements. Labeling regulations and requirements. When you are designing and producing clothing, the positioning of the garment label is an important aspect of the production process. This element is identified in the tech pack. However, it's not just where the label is placed on your clothing that is important. The information that the label contains, such as care labeling and flammability information, is also significant to improve your customer service. Garment labeling isn't new in clothing production, but it is something to consider. It's important to ensure that you adhere to local regulations and laws, such as those handed down by the Federal Trade Commission (FTC). Federal law requires that most textile and wool products have a label that lists the fiber content, the country of origin, and the identity of the manufacturer or another business responsible for marketing or handling the product. A registered identification number and other relevant information, the size and durability of the labels, the lettering, and the order in which information is presented. The FTC's guides for select leather and imitation leather products cover a wide range of items including luggage, handbags, belts, footwear, and other apparel. Under the care labeling rule, manufacturers and importers must provide instructions so consumers know how to clean the products they buy. What is a textile product? A textile product can be defined in any of the following ways: raw, semi-manufactured, manufactured, semi-made up or made up products composed of textile fibers. Products containing at least 80% by weight of textile fibers including furniture, umbrella and sunshade coverings. Textile parts of carpets, mattresses, camping goods, warm linings of gloves and mittens. Textiles incorporated in forming an integral part of other products where textile parts are specified. How should the product be labeled? All items must carry a label indicating the fiber content either on the item or the packaging. This label does not have to be permanently attached to the garment and may be removable. If the product is supplied to a wholesaler, the indication may be contained within business documents, example, the invoice. A textile product containing of two or more fibers accounting for 85% of the finished product should be marked with the fiber followed by a percentage, example, cotton 80%, polyester 15%, nylon 5%. If a product consists of two or more components with different fiber contents, example a jacket with a lining, the content of each must be shown. Any decorative matter that makes up 7% or less of the product is excluded from the indication of fiber content. The word pure should only be used where the garment is made up of only one fiber. The word silk cannot be used to describe the texture of any other fiber, example, silk acetate is not permitted. Only certain names can be used for textile fibers and these are listed in the regulations along with a list of products that are not required to bear fiber content. Labeling to inform the consumer. Consumers need to be confident that a textile item is safe to use and meets required standards. There is legislation to protect consumer rights. Labeling on the product and its packaging will provide the relevant information about country of origin to say where the product was made, fiber content which will affect care, instruction and product flammability, and warn those allergic to certain fibers. Fire and safety warning such as product flammability warnings on upholstery, furnishing, soft toys and children's nightwear and choking hazards for small children. Care and washing instructions, British and European standard symbols such as the BSI, kite mark and CE mark. Trademarks to guarantee quality and protect the manufacturer from copying by others and from cheap imitations. Size, product identification code, environmental and ethical status. Designing safe products. A designer must consider the needs of the target market and it is essential that a safe product is developed. The manufacturer and retailer will be required to abide by laws that are in place to protect the consumer. If the product is for a child, sharp or small parts that will come off when chewed or pulled or long ribbons and cords cannot be included as they might injure or choke the child. Children's nightwear must be labeled keep away from fire. It is the designer's responsibility to ensure that appropriate fabrics, components and textile processes are used and that health and safety issues are taken into consideration. New fabrics and fabric finishes might be selected by a designer to ensure that a product is safe and appealing to the consumer. Fabric that is hypoallergenic with UV protection may be chosen, such as that made from bamboo. Bamboo's organic and natural fiber properties make it non-irritating to the skin for anyone with skin sensitivities or allergies. Fiber content. In compliance with the Wool Products Labeling Act and the Textile Fiber Products Identification Act, which are collectively known as the Textile and Wool Acts, all garments sold in the United States must feature clear labeling regarding their fiber contents. These contents must be listed in descending order in terms of percentage. All fibers included in the garment that have functional significance must be listed, but non-functional fibers need not be listed if their concentration in the final garment are under 5% each. Instead, these fibers can be declared together as a total percentage under the heading Other Fibers. In addition, decorative items such as braids and bells do not need to be listed if they comprise less than 15% of the garment. If ornamentation on a textile product does not exceed 5% of its total composition, it can be omitted, but the phrase exclusive of ornamentation should be listed at the bottom of the label. Lining should be labeled separately and all textile materials should be listed under their generic names instead of their trade names. Country of origin. The FTC requires that all clothing labels disclose the country where the clothing was created. A textile product can only be labeled made in USA if it was manufactured in the USA and it was made from materials that were manufactured in the United States. If a garment was made in the United States from materials that were created in a different country, its label must state made in the USA of imported materials. This information is not compulsory in garment production in the UK. However, as part of trading regulations, it is essential to state the country the product was made. This is required so that brands don't mislead customers about where the item was created. For example, if your clothing is designed in the UK but manufactured in China, made in China has to be clearly displayed. Washing and care instructions. The FTC enforces the care labeling rule, which requires all textile manufacturers selling products in the United States to provide labels that inform consumers regarding the best ways to care for their products. For instance, care practices that could harm the garment must be disclosed and suggested wash temperatures are also required. These labels must be clear, legible and designed to last the life of the garment. Manufacturer identification. This aspect of the FTC's garment labeling codes also helps you market your brand. A garment label on a textile product sold in the USA must feature the registration identification number of the manufacturer, importer or corporate entity handling the sale of the product. All domestic textile companies and importers are required to have registered identification numbers. This number establishes dealer identity, and you can further reinforce your brand identity by including the name of the manufacturer on your garment label. Manufacturer identification is not required under EU law, however, you are strongly advised to include your branding information with items sold in the European Union to improve your brand exposure. Flammable garments. If you are producing specific types of garments such as children's clothing, baby clothing, and nightwear, your clothing label has to display wording that states you meet BS 5722, which is the British standard for flammability. If clothing does not meet these standards, you have to state on the label, keep away from fire. This wording does carry some specific font and character requirements to ensure it can be read clearly. It must be in bold and red Arial font and in at least size 10 point in capital letters. This is a labeling requirement that should always be adhered to, as any failure to follow this requirement can have severe consequence for consumers if they are not fully informed. If you need further information, take a look at Flammability Standards and the Nightwear Safety Regulation 1985. Label placement. It's possible to include all of the FTC's required information on one label. For this, information can be split onto separate labels. These labels must remain attached to the garment until it reaches the consumer, which means that the FTC required information cannot be included on hand tags. If a garment has a neck, country of origin information must be located on the inside center of the neck, and other labels must be placed in easily noticed locations. The position of your label should be clearly specified when you complete your tech pack. Most garment manufacturers will place a label on the inside seam of the garment for ease. This way it is easy to find but hidden from the outside. The amount of information you need to include will determine the length of the label. Placement of the label should be worked into the design and discussed with your clothing manufacturer to ensure all information is clearly displayed. Other information. For brands that have special certifications or awards, this information can be displayed on the garment label. Specifics such as sustainable production or organic fiber content can also be shown here. Legislation regarding specific label placement is not harmonized within the EU. However, exporters to this bloc should be aware of the importance of the European Eco label, which is available for both food and natural textile products. Labeling legislation varies from country to country, and each nation has imposed its own penalties for failures to comply with these laws. In the United States, there are no set fines for failure to comply with labeling laws, but the FTC has been known to go after textile companies with full force when they fail to properly label their products. Thank you for watching. For more sessions like this, do like and subscribe to my channel. Please comment your valuable thoughts and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified when I post a new presentation. Bye, have a good day.